Here are 15 ways you can use the new Object Mask tool in Premiere, from standard to totally off-the-wall ideas. And I assume you already know how to apply Object Mask, how to use it, but if you don't, I made an explainer video which I will link in the description. So number one is about object isolation, so that we can incorporate graphic elements, motion design behind the person or object. Here is an example from a video I worked on. I needed to show those two graphics that he was referencing, and this felt like an elegant way to do it. Another one is where he talks about community and number of people that will be part of the movement, and that's how I decided to execute it. So basically I masked not only him, but the desk, the mag, and the plant, in that studio space. And you can see, like, those icons cloning behind him, and I think it looks quite cool. And the most obvious way would be to put text behind him as well, which I did numerous times on this project as well. And I mean, I did like this as well, or this example where he goes Super Saiyan, and if I wouldn't use that Object Mask tool, we would have this aura, like, go in front of him, and also like, rocks in front of his face and so on. And I felt it looks much better if all of that stuff is behind him, so that we don't cover his face with anything. But let's move on to number two, which is background replacement, because if we can isolate him like that, we can replace the background as well quite easily. So in this example, he talks about forest, and he talks about a book that is linked to the forest. I will not go into details, but you can see how I used it basically to change the background to show those two things he talks about. And I could go a step further and isolate myself over here, so let's see how this would look. Okay, look at his happy face. That's awesome. Okay, so I will basically now apply this unassigned mask to opacity mask, and now we're free to replace the background with whatever we want. Let's put this forest behind myself over there, and let's just remove the rectangle mask from the forest. I could reposition myself right now to be in the middle, and obviously some color correction would be needed, maybe blur the background a little bit and so on. And you can see that the lighting is off, of course, for that background, but I could easily replace it with like a cyclorama behind me or something like that, and I think it would look quite well. Let's move on to number three, which is cleanup work. Basically, if you want to remove unwanted object or something within a frame, you can use Object Mask for it as well. So let's give you an example. In this shot, this screen was actually much different. This is the original screen, but they didn't want to include this screen in the final shot, in the final video, so I needed to replace it with some branding element. So I created this clean plate, but the problem was that he was walking in front of it. So to basically, make it work, I needed to mask him, rotoscope him well. And that's how this tool helped me. Without it, that's what I would get, right? So once I use the Object Mask tool, I get a perfect cutout, and the whole masking took me, I don't know, 30 seconds. It took me a little bit longer to create that clean plate, to be honest. Problem solving one-on-one, and it works quite well. Even if you can see some or for example, in this frame, you can see that it's not perfect. It would be nice to refine edges the way you can do in After Effects. In here, you don't have that much control over this, but the effect is good enough so that when you're watching it in real time, you don't really notice. Would you have noticed? I don't think you would if I didn't tell you that this was replaced, that the screen was replaced. Anyway, it's time for number four, and number four is all about changing the hue of elements. So in this shot, I have selected hair clothing, right? Her top. That's the original shot, but once I masked her top, it's extremely easy to change the hue with just lumetri color effects and some curves adjustments, right? Hue and hue specifically. And that's it. You can change it to any color you want, really. You could use this to add saturation to sky, for example, or desaturate something within an image. You could also do a black and white effect. I will even show you why not. So if I just drop black and white effect, and now I can basically take this mask, copy it, apply it to black and white, and now invert it, right? And that's what we get. How quickly we get it. That's insane. That's insane. And all of it is masked, all of it is tracked. So when I play it, it all works extremely well. And by the way, I explained how masks are referenced from a folder that is created next to the project file, which is a very useful thing. In that video, I linked in the description, so check it out. Moving on to number 5. And number 5 is all about seamlessly placing CGI elements in front or behind objects and people within a frame. So in this example, he talks about a mist that covers something in your plan, right? In your business plan or whatever. And that's how I decided to visualize it. So some of the mist is behind him, some of the mist is in front of him. So that one was in front of him, the other one is behind him. Both are moving in different directions, so it makes it a solid visual effect. And number 6, which is selective motion blur, or sharpening if you wanted to. You can use this effect to basically emphasize movement or direct attention to a specific part of the frame. Okay, let's mask my friend over here. I have to select the clip. Okay, let's select him and let's select, actually I will start from a different frame. So let me deselect it and let me do it again. Okay, now the helmet is selected as well. Let's track it forward and backwards as well with that button over here. Okay, that's great. Now I can duplicate it. On that clip, I will change it to opacity mask. In that case, I will not even assign it, so I will leave it as it is. And now we'll apply some motion blur to it. Video effects and the directional blur. So let's apply it to the clip in the background, and now we open this, we remove the mask from the object, and I could go more extreme if I wanted to, or I could even change the angle to something like 87 so that it's a little bit more with the direction that the heel is going into, and I could even scale it with adjustment layer, for example. So I'll go to project, I'll add an adjustment layer on top of it, this one, and over here. Here we go, you don't have the edges, so that's without the effect, and that's with the effect. Okay, quick side note, I run presentations like that, and we did one on Object Mask tool in my school community. We go into deep dives and real use cases and show examples and so on, and you can ask questions along the way. And listen, like, editing is pretty much a solitary job. So like having a community that shares workflows, ideas, feedback between each other, I think is invaluable. It's so important to have. That's a factor that protects you from a burnout and really like has a huge impact over time. So if you want to join, if you want to be part of that while we are still growing, now is a good time to join because I will be increasing the price over time. Okay, back to the video. Number 7 is about tracing outlines or shapes over footage for stylized look. So in this example, I will select hair, and I will just drop a gradient effect on top of this shape, and that's what we get. So like, instead of real footage, we just get the shape moving exactly as she would. Pretty cool effect, achieved very quickly and quite efficiently, I would say. Number 8 is about giving a stylized look from Photoshop to a certain object or a person character within a frame. So basically how it works is you use the object mask tool on anything. In this case, I used it on a cigarette, just a single cigarette in this shot. And then I exported this cigarette as a sequence of images. I opened Photoshop, and on the first image, I made this stylized look of like an oil painting, but I recorded this as action in Photoshop. And basically what it allows you to do, it allows you to go to File, Automate, and run this script, this action on all of those images within a folder, right? So I did this for the whole sequence of images. It did it super quickly. It basically runs the script itself. So then you just go back, you import the sequence of images again into Premiere, and you're done, and you get this effect. So like without this, the cigarette is just like, real life cigarette, right? But with this effect on top, this is like an oil painting cigarette that is incorporated within the shot. Pretty cool. Number 9 is to brighten the edges to highlight something, highlight an object that is referenced when someone is talking about their product, or highlight a person if we want to. For example, in this shot, which it was done for one of my clients, so basically she talks about how it makes you shine when you know AI very well. And when she says it, I made her shine, namely, I made her shine. Number 10 is about making silhouettes, basically. So it's kind of similar to number 7, but instead of just giving this stylized look to the object itself, we can do the same thing for the whole frame. So basically, we can reuse the mask that we create for an object and invert it for the background to add some stylized effect there as well. So for example, I can add this posterize effect, let's say, to this one, and now I can reuse this on another effect. And I could do like another posterize effect, for example, for the background, invert it, and I will also drop the black and white effect on top of it, and that's what we get. And by the way, the order of the effects really matters here, so that's why I moved this posterize for the background higher within effect controls panel. Let's move on to number 11, which is about like this memory distortion effect, so to speak. So basically, we can rotoscope part of footage to simulate the fragmented memory glitch, so to speak. I don't know if it's a good way to describe it, but let me show you what I mean. So now I can apply it to opacity, and on that copy I can basically change scale a little bit, maybe to something like 104. I can change to black and white effect maybe as well. Once I have the effect applied, I can basically just like, just to use it as a glitch in a normal sequence, right? And maybe here for a frame or two, and I can I can fragment it a little bit more. I could add some RGB split maybe to it as well, and that's what we get. Number 12 is about distortion as well, but not like the image distortion, rather it's about like time distortion. So I will basically duplicate it. I will select this with an object mask tool, this monocycle as well, and I will track it. Now on that second clip above, I will just apply it to the opacity mask, and I will basically move it in time. And that's what we get. And by the way, this would work better if it would be on a static shot, but still gives you an interesting idea to play with. That's kind of cool. Number 13 is very similar to what we did in Photoshop, where we exported a sequence of images and fed it through the automation that stylized the images in Photoshop. But this time we'll export the sequence of images and we'll feed it to AI and we'll prompt it to change the sequence of images somehow. Basically merging rotoscoping and AI generation to give us a new stylized look, a new interesting look. Number 14 is about music visualization. So basically you're applying effect that reacts to the beat of the music. And unfortunately we don't have, at least I can't think how to do it easily inside of Premiere Pro. So I did it in After Effects. But you could also rotoscope, you could object select in Premiere and then round trip to After Effects. Anyway, that's what I did, and I basically made this expression that once we converted the audio track to keyframes, it reacts to those keyframes and applies the value to exposition of the masked object so that we get this strobing effect that reacts to the music. I think it's kind of cool. Again, very good for a music video, YouTube video, you name it. And it's time for number 15, the last one. But before we do, I just want to mention my school community again. If you want support, if you want structure, if you want people to grow with, I've built this community for editors who care about workflows, who care about systems, who care about long-term improvements. Again, editing is a solitary job, and having the right people around you speeds up the process of growing as an editor, makes you better, I think. So number 15 is about this effect I used for an intro for this channel. I made it in After Effects, and it's this double exposure effect. Basically, once I mask myself and track the mask, I can apply this mask to another clip on top of me and play with opacity to achieve this double exposure. And that's how it looks. And I think it's kind of cool. Till the next time, take care. Bye.